Thank you for purchasing an Excellence Commercial Products freezer and sneeze shield accessory. In this video, we'd like to illustrate the safest and easiest way to assemble the sneeze shield. To start, find some working room and place the cardboard box flat and open only from the top side of the box. Inside the box you will find the canopy instruction manual. Be sure to open the instructions and familiarize yourself with the procedures prior to actually attempting the assembly. Also look at the exploded diagram and make sure you have all the necessary parts. If not, contact us immediately. The first step is to prep the freezer. Begin by uncrating the unit. Then remove the lids and place them in a safe location. Next, untape the can holders and carefully remove them from the freezer. The can holders, along with the lids, can be replaced after the canopy is completed. Now familiarize yourself with the front and back of the freezer. The back has the compressor grill and grommets for holding the dipper well. The front side of the unit is clean, as this is where customers would normally approach. Now, in order to easily remove the lids after the canopy is mounted, the front plastic guide tab must be removed. This tab is on the front side of the case, not the back. Begin by scoring the tab several times with an X-Acto knife. Then tap the tab off using a chisel and hammer gently. You may need to use a little sandpaper to smooth off the edge. Step 3. Assemble the fixed strips. Next, we will mount the aluminum strips. You will find these bundled together in a bag. There's one long strip for the front of the unit and two shorter ones for the sides. Begin by peeling off the protective coating from each of the strips. Locate the 90-degree connectors. These two pieces are slid into each end of the longer aluminum strip and used to connect it to the two shorter end units. It helps to place the aluminum strips on a flat surface. Slide one side of the rectangular connector all the way into the end of one of the aluminum strips. Next, securely screw using one of the M5 X5 bolts. It helps to use a magnetic screwdriver. Next, slide the other end of the rectangular connector into the adjoining aluminum strip. Be sure the corner is set at 90 degrees and snug. Securely bolt the corner using another M5 X5 bolt. Repeat the process on the other corner. Be sure that the corners are square and that all four bolts are tight. Step 4. Installation of fixed strips. Place the aluminum assembly on the top of the freezer. It should fit snug inside the frame and sit as far forward as possible. The assembly now needs to be mounted to the frame. There are several holes along the front part of the assembly that will need to be screwed in from the top. The number of screws depends on the size of the sneeze shield. Be sure to use the rounded head 4.2 by 13 self-tapping screws. If you do not have a good electric screwdriver, you can drill a pilot hole using a 1/16 inch drill bit. Remember that these screws are mounted in the front of the freezer, along the top. These are not the side brackets. For each of the side strips, there are 3 self-tapping, flathead 3.5 by 14 screws. These will be mounted along the inside edge of the aluminum frame ends. The screws are self-tapping, but again, if you don't have an electric screwdriver handy, you can drill 1/16 inch pilot holes to help. Now repeat this process for the other strip. Step 5. Glass cement. Apply the glass cement in the slots of all 3 fixed strips. Keep unused glass cement in a safe place and out of the reach of children. Step 6. Prep the side glass. Attach 2 of the rectangular L-shaped brackets to the top holes on one of the side pieces of glass. Note that the large flathead bolts will actually thread directly into the bracket. After threading the bolt through the bracket, attach a cap nut to the end of each thread on each bolt. While tightening the bolts, be sure to align the top of the L bracket to be flush with the top of the glass. Next, we need to mount the 2 shelf brackets to the glass. The brackets are placed on the same side of the glass as the L brackets using the flathead bolts. Only this time be sure to include the plastic washer between the bracket and the glass. Repeat this process for the second bracket. Make sure that the brackets are placed in the holes that are located in the middle of the glass. There is a small set screw that needs to be inserted into the bottom of the shelf support bracket. Prior to threading it, insert the rubber protective cap into the end of the set screw. Do not thread the set screw completely. Allow enough room for the glass shelf to easily slide into the opening. Take the cap nut for the set screw away, as it will only be used after the glass is mounted. Apply the rubber gasket to the front leading edge of the glass. Repeat these tasks for the other side glass, only reversing which side the brackets are mounted. When completed, they should look like this picture. Steps 7 through 11. Canopy installation. You will need at least 2 people for the remainder of these steps. One person should take the end glass and place it into the side slot of the aluminum channel. The brackets should be facing towards the inside of the case. The glass should be moved forward, but still leave enough room for the front glass to slide into the front track. The second person then lifts the front glass and sets it into the front channel. This is a heavier piece of glass and may require 2 people to lift. The second end glass should then be lifted into place. One person should remain holding the assembly firm. The top glass and stainless pieces should be wiped clean. While the glass assembly is still held in place, one person sets the stainless piece on top, making sure the holes align with the L bracket. Next, the glass piece is also placed on top, again aligning the holes with the L bracket. The right and left back fixed brackets should then be screwed into place. Begin by putting the bracket pole into the hole of the glass located towards the back of the unit. The bracket will then need to be swiveled down to slide between the glass and the aluminum channel. This will square up and secure the side glass, but someone should still be holding the entire canopy assembly together in place. The top pieces should now be secured to the L brackets. Begin by threading one of the large flathead bolts through the top hole and into the L bracket. Tighten by hand. You may need to wiggle the glass a bit to align the holes, so the second person should keep firm grip of the assembly. Now repeat the step on the other side of the case. Once both ends are secure, the final 2 top bolts should be attached. After the 4 flathead bolts are aligned, tighten them firmly by hand. You will notice that the L bracket will be pulled flush against the top canopy as the bolts are tightened. Next, attach the 4 cap nuts to the end of the flathead bolts. Tighten with a wrench so firm, but not hard enough to crack the glass. The final step is to attach the mezzanine shelf. Make sure that the set bolts are not screwed in all the way so there's clearance for the glass. Carefully slide the glass into the 4 brackets on the side panels. The shelf should be inserted to a point where it's evenly aligned in between the brackets. Tighten the 4 set screws to keep the glass firmly in place. And finally, attach the cap nuts to the bottom of the 4 set screws. You can now return your can holders and lids to your freezer and begin selling product. Thank you for using Excellence Commercial Products.